Is main event time and main event NASCAR for the NASCAR Cup Series for the 2025 running of the Cookout Clash. And this year, it is taking place at Bowman Gray Stadium. We have already wrapped up one stream here today on the live commentary side of things at Bowman Gray Stadium for the Busch Clash, the Cookout Clash. I did that once at the start of the last stream. I did it again. It's the Cookout Clash here in 2025, or as Mike Joyce states over the say, we wrapped that up a little over a half hour ago. We are here for race number 2, and this is again the main event. A longer distance than what we saw in the LCQ, which did take quite a bit of time considering that caution laps did not count. That was 75 laps, and in our main event here this evening, it will be 200. 23 drivers on the track for this race versus 19 that were in the LCQ. 3 drivers from the LCQ are in the main event after 20 drivers locked themselves up through the heat races, which took place yesterday evening. Chase Elliott will be starting on the pole in this one. 3 drivers who raced in the LCQ earlier today, Kyle Larson, Josh Berry, they finished first and second, advanced their way in, and are provisional for points went to Ryan Blaney, who finished second in the standings last year in 2024 for the NASCAR Cup Series, and this year, obviously, running in the LCQ, was locked in before the start. Assuming he didn't get in an incident, he ran about 23 laps, pulled off the track after the second caution, said, nope, I am tapping out. I do not want to wreck my car. And so he's got a clean car for this one. Can't say a clean car necessarily for Josh Berry and Kyle Larson, but their crews have been going to work during this intermission in between, again, the LCQ and the main event to try to get their cars back to as close to 100% as possible. Obviously, they still had some speed considering they finished towards the front of their group, but we'll see what they will have coming from the back of the pack yet again. Josh Berry started deep in the LCQ field and was able to get the second. Larson started mid-pack, so maybe don't count out drivers who are starting mid-pack in this race or starting deep in the field in tonight's race compared to what I might have stated over various streams over the last week or month or so leading into this race, expecting that somebody from the front row was going to get the win. Well, my prediction is Denny Hamlin for the win today. He starts in row 2, so I'm changing my prediction based on how the performance on track has been so far this weekend, as I would for any other typical NASCAR race weekend. So if you're wondering who I'm going to take, again, taking Denny Hamlin to win the Clash 2 years in a row. Did it at the Coliseum last year, and I expect him to do it this season as well. He had 3 wins last NASCAR season, all earlier in the year. So it's going to be very interesting to see if he can start the season off this year just like he did last season. NASCAR Team Penske Cup Series Racing, thanks for tuning in. Patrick Shadley, Tim Brown, thanks for tuning in as well. Put Keegan in a car and get the promoters provisionals. I would love the opportunity, but that's probably not going to happen. And I would probably get mollywopped by everybody else out there who has been doing this for a living for a longer period of time than me. My racing years are behind me. Sad but true, but it is a reality of things, and I have not driven like a full car before. As far as, well, I've driven a full car, obviously I own a car, but not a race car. Race car side of things, yeah, that hasn't happened. So you don't want to see me out there and embarrassing myself like maybe some others in the past have done with little experience. Carter hang on, let me make sure I say this name correctly. Let's see, Carter Cathorn, thanks for tuning in. Cathorn, I think it's Cathorn. I gotta get it right. Gotta get it right. Do you justice because you tuned into the stream, and I greatly appreciate it. NASCAR Team Penske Cup Series Racing, also welcome to the stream. My picking for the race this year. Again, Denny Hamlin, who I just took seconds ago. He is my pick for the win. T-Town TCG, thanks for tuning back in. Obviously, you were in the LCQ. Many of you tuning in right now. We're tuning into our LCQ broadcast. Again, I mentioned at the end of that stream, because it ended at 7:45, we're going to bump the stream start time from 8 p.m. back a little bit because they moved out. We have a national anthem to get out. When they do that, I'll let you listen in, obviously, on the Fox broadcast. As of right now, Harvick, Boyer have been working their way up closer to the booth. Jamie McMurray, Chris Myers are still talking on the pre-race for the NASCAR race day side of things. We'll go through the starting lineup once we get through the national anthem and the command to fire engines, but you can see that on screen as stated already. Gail Campbell and Ethan Tobe, thanks for tuning in. Patty and Rumdy Creations, thanks for tuning in. Hamlin's a good pick. I know my NASCAR. That's all I'm going to say there. Predictions were pretty solid, honestly, for most of last season, despite only getting the race win prediction 7 times last year. I did predict Hamlin to win the Clash last season, so looking to get the Clash winner 2 years in a row. Frank Powers, thanks for tuning in as well. See, win it or wreck it time. Oh boy. Hopefully not, but we did see that already earlier today. I believe they're going trackside for pre-race ceremony, so again, let's listen in.
Winston-Salem Police Department Honor Guard presents our nation's colors. As Chaplain Daniel victims.
Is this Rick Allen?
Friends and families.
Sounds like Rick Allen.
In Washington, D.C. and Philadelphia.
Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day that you've given to us. We thank you for every team, every driver, and all the fans that are here today. God, we want to take a moment and pray for the victims and the families of those affected by the tragedies in both DC and Pennsylvania, and all of the teams. And may we have a great race. In Jesus' name, amen.
Here to perform our national anthem, please welcome Winston-Salem State University's Red Sea of Sound Marching Band. Let's hear it for Winston-Salem State University's Red Sea of Sound Marching Band's performance of our national anthem.
An old school
With a great
quarter-mile track, 23 drivers, 200 green flag laps at the Madhouse. The Clash is live on Fox in a moment.
one show.
So the rules are there are no rules. So no, based off of what we saw in the LCQ, now the rules are essentially no caution laps are going to end up counting for tonight's main event, just like we saw for the LCQ. 200 laps again instead of 75. We have 4 more cars in the field here, so that means maybe a little bit more carnage than what we saw in earlier tonight's portion of the racing. As far as this race goes, as follows on screen. This is going to be our starting lineup for the Cookout Clash at Bowman Gray Stadium, again 2025 edition, and the first sanctioned NASCAR race here since 1971. Chase Elliott will be on the pole trying to go for his first career Clash victory. Chris Buescher will be starting in second. Wasn't even in the main event a season ago, and he's starting on the front row this year at a new track for this event. Denny Hamlin, the defending winner of this race at the LA Coliseum last season, will start inside of row 2, and Tyler Reddick will start on the outside of that row. Brad Keselowski and Chase Briscoe will line up in row number 3. Brad K also hasn't ran as well in the Clash at the Coliseum, but Bowman Gray Stadium has been great for RFK. Top 5 for Brad, Buescher, and the newly named RFK driver Ryan Preece in practice sessions that took place yesterday. And row number 4 will be Joey Logano and Christopher Bell. Logano, another one of those Clash winners when it was held at the Coliseum. And row number 5, it'll be Noah Gragson with his new team at in the number 4, I should say specifically. Front Row Motorsports will be the name of that team. Shane Van Gisbergen in the 88 car. Glad to see the number 88 back on track in the NASCAR Cup Series. We haven't seen that since the early Alex Bowman years at Hendrick Motorsports. And, well, he's bringing it back for Trackhouse Racing full-time in the Cup Series for SVG for what will be his rookie Cup season. William Byron and Ryan Preece will make up row 6. Again, Preece very fast in practice. Byron very good at this style of racetrack through the Cup Series. He's got a lot of short track wins on these flatter ovals, especially in the early months of the year, so expect him to potentially be a contender for the win. Kyle Busch, who was very good at the Clash when he was at the Coliseum, finished in the top 3 in all 3 races. The only driver to do so will be starting 13th in tonight's race inside of row 7 with Bubba Wallace to his outside, who also has had great runs on this style of racetrack, whether that be the Clash or even at North Wilkesboro Speedway in the All-Star race the last couple of years. Had a runner-up in the All-Star race a season ago. Carson Hocevar and Austin Cindric are going to end up making up road number 8, and road 9 will be Ross Chastain and Daniel Suarez, the 2 Trackhouse teammates. Alex Bowman alongside Todd Gillen in road 10, redemption for Bowman to make this race after failing to make the main event a season ago. His teammate Kyle Larson, who won the LCQ, will be behind him in row number 11 alongside Josh Berry, who advanced in the last transfer position in that said LCQ. And Ryan Blaney with the points provisional ran the LCQ, didn't finish it, but has a clean car for the start. Was able to at least get a little bit of track time tonight compared to, obviously, the top 20 starters for this race. Thanks for everybody, too. Again, Bowman Gray Stadium. Couldn't do practice qualifying. I was out of town yesterday at the Royal Rumble. Had a fun time there. Going to have a fun time here tonight, bringing you guys the full flag-to-flag coverage of this race. And as far as last weekend goes, we had our first live commentary stream of the calendar year 2025. We did the Rolex 24 at Daytona, all 24 hours from front to back, from start to finish. 24 and a half hours nearly that stream lasted. We made it. I made it. And greatly appreciate everybody that tuned in for that one. It was a successful debut of the Rolex 24 on the channel, and now it's time for the 3rd consecutive year to do the Busch Clash, or again, the Cookout Clash this year. It's right in front of me. I can see it in bold print, top of the screen. Cookout Clash at Bowman Gray. At Bowman Gray Stadium underneath it. I'll figure that out eventually. Jim Troyer, thanks for tuning into the stream as well. Saw you tuning in there right as the national anthem was going on. 400 laps with the caution. It could very well be 400 laps with the cautions. I don't know if there's going to be a break for refueling at midway. I could definitely see a situation where NASCAR would allow them to refuel, assuming that they aren't going to give them time in the middle of the race as is. I know for the Clash when it was at the Coliseum they did. And most short track races that would have a longer race length like this, they would also kind of have a halfway stoppage for refuelage and maybe some minor adjustments. So I wouldn't expect that to not be the case here tonight. And I'm sure we'll get further word on that as we get closer to the drop of the green flag. It might have been talked about yesterday during like practice and qualifying. Again, I did not catch that. They didn't mention it in the LCQ at least. Obviously, because they were focused on the actual racing going on during the LCQ. Might be another Royal Rumble tonight after the race. It very well could be. Only instead of 30 guys, it's going to be 23. So, not quite as many, but, man. Rolex 24 was a success for the stream. Didn't know I had the balls to do it. Well, I did, and I did it. Thank you very much. My voice lasted all the way through. I had laryngitis the week before, got over it, about lost my voice during the 24 hours because I was talking for so long, got it back again a couple days later, almost lost it again last night at the Royal Rumble. So here we are today. Make it through this weekend, and my voice should be back to 100%. We got a week and a half before the next live commentary stream, which will be the Daytona 500 qualifying session on the Wednesday night before the Daytona 500. So again, that Wednesday, let me figure out the exact date. So off the top of my head, I do not know. Obviously, the 16th would be the Daytona 500, the 12th. So February 12th, we will be live for Daytona 500 qualifying. It's a Wednesday night, as it has been the last couple of years now. We will be live for Daytona 500 qualifying. Then obviously the dual races that Thursday. And then Truck Race Friday. ARCA and Xfinity doubleheader will be live for both races that Saturday. And, of course, the Daytona 500 on Sunday. And that will be the lone race this season in which I will go live 1 hour before the start rather than just a half hour. So we'll go live 1 full hour before the drop of the green flag of the Daytona 500. Biggest race of the year. Figured that I have to do it. All right. I'm ready. We went through the starting lineup, just really focused on getting cars started here. Just gave the command to fire engines, but the cars are not quite rolling yet. They will be very shortly. Jojo, thanks for tuning in. Did a heck of a job with the Rolex 24. Appreciate that. 5-second pit stop will put them 25 laps down. Yeah, definitely no live pit stops in this race, which we usually don't see in the Clash anyway. Well, not since it's been moved from Daytona, I should say. We haven't even seen live pit stops in the All-Star race in North Wilkesboro the last couple. Well, no, we might have. We have, but obviously not green flag stops because there hasn't been a need for it. But no live pit stops in general, caution or green flag for tonight's race. John Barber, thanks for tuning in. Jason Awesome VODs, thanks for tuning in as well. Our season goal, I mentioned it earlier today, 10,000 subscribers on the channel before the end of this year. We got a big year. We got NASCAR 25 coming out later in the fall. That'll kind of help, I think, carry over some off-season content once we get into next NASCAR off-season. But I don't want to talk about next NASCAR off-season because we're not even to the start of this season. We're still a couple minutes away. Well, really, a couple weeks away still from our first points race, but yeah, this is going to be very, very interesting. Still got some crew personnel walking off the racetrack right now. Once they get off, then the cars will start rolling. Couple pace laps, and we will be going green. Again, Chase Elliott on the pole. Still looking for his first Clash win, no matter the variations. Well, never mind. He did win the no, he did not. That's right. I was about to say he won the Daytona Road Course. Kyle Busch stole that win away from him. Blaney and Elliott battled down the home stretch on the final lap in that front stretch chicane. The only year it was on the road course at Daytona. But whether it was the oval at Daytona, the road course, the Coliseum, Chase Elliott has never won the Clash. Best shot to do it probably here today on this tight confine of a racetrack out in front of the field. It's still not going to be easy. Going to have to time the restarts out well, and he's probably going to need some help in the sense of not getting rammed through. I would expect there to be a little bit more respect in this main event than what we saw in the LCQ, considering it's more laps. As we boil down towards the finish of the race, maybe not so much, but at the start, I would expect there to be more green flag racing. We tend to get a long be at the Coliseum, or even at Daytona most years when it was on the oval. Favorite driver. My favorite driver is Ryan Blaney, and usually I am wearing Blaney gear during race days for the Cup Series, but because I did not bring spare clothing with me to Indianapolis that was Ryan Blaney apparel-wise, I got home like less than 2.5 hours before the LCQ started, so it just didn't change. I was usually I'd be decked out in Blaney gear for the Cup races, but not today, which is probably why he's starting last. See, I already kind of, he's just not going to win. He's not going to win because I'm not wearing a shirt. Apologize to any other Ryan Blaney fans out there. And Ryan Blaney, it is that Team Penske 12 team itself as well. Got over 100 people watching anyway right now. Wait, Indianapolis. Yeah, I was in Indy for the Royal Rumble this weekend. I only live about 4 hours from Indianapolis, so I had to go. That and I've gone the last couple of years, so I wasn't going to not go to the closest one to me. I can guarantee I will not be in Saudi Arabia for that next year, so we will have full Clash coverage next year for practice and all that the day before the main event. Like we usually would. Just didn't have it this year. We technically didn't have it last year because it was all combined. Well, we did have it last year, but it was just, again, all combined in the same day. Because if you remember, they had a bunch of flooding in the Los Angeles area, a lot of rain that took place during this weekend a year ago, and they actually had to move the race date up one day from Sunday night, like it has been the last several years, to a Saturday night event. So we had to move our stream up a little bit as well. At the Indianapolis Motor Speedway last year for the Cup Series, I'd like to go back to the Brickyard at some point. Hopefully this year, especially with, I mean, I live in Ohio now, but I'm planning on moving to North Carolina at some point before the end of the calendar year. I will definitely be in Indianapolis at that time, so high probability I'll be back at Indy for the Brickyard 400 this year. All right, 1 to go signal is given at the start-finish line. 200 laps at the Madhouse, Bowman Gray Stadium. Who is going to get the W in the return to this famed short track? I'm ready. I'm ready. Hopefully you guys are too. It's going to be a fun ride. Raw feed is going to be a little bit ahead of obviously what you would be seeing on television. That was synced up from last year as well. So try not to spoil anything in the chat. And obviously the YouTube is going to have a slight delay as well from my commentary. Flash at Bowman Gray Stadium. Chase Elliott with a great clean start. One of the cleanest starts we had seen. Whether that be a restart in the LCQ, a heat race, whatnot. All clear off turn 2. Holds clear through the rest of the opening lap. And Elliott from the pole leads lap 1. The driver who started second, Chris Buescher, is still trying to battle for second. That is with the 45 of Tyler Reddick, who got by Hamlin on the outside lane on the initial start. Hamlin didn't fire off well inside row 2, loses a spot, falls to 4th, and already the top 5 or 6 cars are single file, even more than that. You got Briscoe in the 19, the 22, and Joey Logano, who are also single, much 8th through the rest of the field. And that's where we're going to start to see a lot more of the contact in the early going of the race, so that is where Fox is going to be airing its cameras off the get-go. Definitely a more tamed start, although we did go about 13 laps caution-free to start the race earlier. So maybe not surprising, and again, this is a much longer race as well. Half a second lead, if not just a little more than that, for Elliott over Buescher. Again, RFK Racing has been very fast this weekend at Bowman Gray Stadium through practice. And we'll have to wait and see if they're going to be able to show that speed in the race. Obviously, again, 2 cars starting in the top 5, and Priest is already up to 10th in the middle of the pack out of the 23 cars that started this 200-lapper. Bubba Wallace battling door-to-door on screen with the 4. Got to remember that is not Josh Berry. That would be Noah Gregson in the 4 car this season. And that is not SHR, as they had closed down shop at the end of last year, and that will be a Front Row Motorsports entry. Still Ford Mustang too, so it really does look like an SHR Ford. But trust me, inside he's got nowhere to go. Lost a couple spots off the start was Willie B. He's in 13th, right ahead of Kyle Busch in the 8. Gregson wins the battle on Bubba Wallace. Finally clears him. Byron trying to sneak to the inside of the 23 as Wallace continues to get stuck on the outside and is struggling in the early laps in the fight to try to get back down to the bottom. Pushes the 4 car ahead and then pushes him out of the way, and now the 23 is underneath the 4. They bottleneck up again. Byron into the back of the top 10. And how about SVG having a strong start to this race? He started 10th, had a good start, got the 9th, and now he's going for 8th on the defending series champion. Can't win your way into the playoffs here tonight, but what a showing for SVG this weekend. Great in his heat races, and already in the top 10. The question is can he survive the carnage we may see in the back half of this race? So far, so good for the 88. Cindric underneath Busch. Busch is starting to lose more spots. Hocevar got around him within the last couple laps. And if he can't get back to the bottom quickly behind Cindric, it looks like he may end up allowing Daniel Suarez to get underneath him next. Suarez is already peeking his nose. But Busch is able to get back down to the bottom. It's a good thing he did because there was a large single file line behind him at the moment. Kyle Larson, who started 21st after winning the LCQ, is still in 21st as we have completed 15 laps. out of 200. Two-car breakaway at the front of the field. Elliott breaking away even further from Buescher than Buescher is from Reddick in third. And the battle for third is a lot tighter of those in the top 5 positions. And if we get a long enough green flag run, there will be lap traffic in this race. We did not see that in the LCQ because we didn't have a long enough green flag run at 8 cautions in a 75-lap event. And again, the longest green flag run was about 13 laps to start the race. And we've already had a longer green flag run than that in the main event. We're only 18 laps in. See, Grybex, thanks for tuning in. Burning hot in Australia. Well, appreciate you tuning in from the land down under. Brett Whiteside's also welcome to the stream. Didn't notice you in the chat earlier. Here's to another season, indeed. Whitesides is pulling for Rowdy. Rowdy battling with the 4. A little tire rub on the left rear for Noah Gregson. Gregson used to run for KBM back in the Truck Series, so his former boss. And they're trading paint here at the Bull Ring. And Suarez in line behind the 4, and Suarez pushes the 4 into the 8, and Busch goes around. And we do have our first caution. And it will be at lap 20. And once again, the red flag will be displayed because caution laps do not count. And Busch is pulling straight to the garage. So Suarez hit the back of the 4, and that ricocheted the 4 into the 8. So that was not on Gregson. And I wonder if Suarez might have gotten hit by the 34 car, did the first bit of contact. We'll probably see more of that to come, and I believe they are working on the right rear toe link on the 8 car of Kyle Busch. We saw that issue earlier in the LCQ with several drivers who got against the wall. And that seems to be the case here for Busch, even though it looked like he hit fairly square. And because caution laps do not count, he's not going to lose many laps here. I believe he's going to lose 1 lap. And that's just because the leaders had gotten around, and Busch will be back on the lead lap, and he is back on track as we speak. So, can't count him out of it. He was going backwards off the start, so definitely not the way he would have liked to have began things here tonight, but can't count anybody out of it. It's a short field and a short track. In a short race with a lot of beating and banging, anything could happen. So again, first caution of the nightcap edition of our main event here at Bowman Gray. And it was a quick caution too. I don't even know that it was a toe link break necessarily, but they definitely went underneath the right rear of the 8. It could have been a toe link break because he was on and off of pit road very quickly. So it'll be lap 21 on the restart. 180 to go. And again, it'll be Chase Elliott and Chris Buescher at the front of the field, as they were for the initial start. Why is it red? Because caution laps don't count. So it's red flag rather than yellow flag. Yellow flag would indicate caution. Red flag, usually a stoppage, but not for this evening. With this being an exhibition race, green flag back in the air again for Chase Elliott. Elliott Buescher, front row, not quite as good of a restart for Elliott this time, but still relatively good. Buescher gets into the back bumper of the 9 car just a little bit. Small scrapage, nothing major. Side by side for 5th between Briscoe, who's on the outside of Brad Keselowski, trying to get the drive off the 88 of SVG door to door with Christopher Bell, who was great at this style of racetrack last season. Flatter, shorter ovals. One of the championship contenders through most of the year because of it, although did not make it to Phoenix for a shot at the title, still led quite a few laps that day. Chase Elliott leads top 4, single file, top 5 now single file. Keselowski was able to break free of the 19, and the 20 who got by SVG soon gets by his teammate the following lap on Briscoe, and Christopher Bell's up to a race high 6th place position. Shane Van Gisbergen up to 7th as he is able to muscle his way by Briscoe. Briscoe finally getting down to the bottom in front of Joey Logano. And the driver he's running side by side and battling for position with, which is Ryan Preece in the 60. Elliott just over half a second lead already over Chris Buescher in 2nd. Tyler Reddick is 3rd. Denny Hamlin 4th. Brad Keselowski 5th. Christopher Bell in 6th. Shane Van Gisbergen in 7th. Chase Briscoe in 8th. 9th for Joey Logano. Bubba Wallace is going to round out the top 10. So Wallace was losing spots earlier. Great restart here because he was right around 13th, 14th. And now he's up inside the top 10. Lap 27. Again, 20 laps went caution-free to start the race. Quick yellow. Didn't even have to cut the commercial break, so that's how quick the yellow was. Oh, big contact with the wall off turn 4 for the 60. And it didn't look like the 23 got into him. I think the 60 just got the power down too early. Car seems to be okay. He hit the wall in a weird angle. Again, you could break a toe leg. Very fortunate that there isn't severe damage. Despite the stiff chassis, he could still bend a wheel. It looked like he hit that part of the wall where it kind of bows out off of turn 4. Which, again, I'm very surprised, as even as the contact was to the wheel of the race car, that he didn't have any sort of a suspension brake. Lost a couple positions with the slowdown, fell from the battle for 10th back to 12th. Carson Hocevar was the driver who was able to get around him. And obviously Bubba Wallace, who he was battling with side by side at the time. Big moment there for Briscoe, getting up off the corner as he was trying to challenge on the 88 from behind of Shane Van Gisbergen. Going to commercial side by side on Fox for the first time today. We'll go through the full field running order now on lap 32 of this clash. Again, Chase Elliott, our leader. Chris Buescher in 2nd. 3rd place for Tyler Reddick. Denny Hamlin 4th. Christopher Bell 5th. 6th for Brad Keselowski. Shane Van Gisbergen in 7th. 8th is Chase Briscoe. Joey Logano 9th. Bubba Wallace 10th. Carson Hocevar 11th. Ryan Preece in 12th. Daniel Suarez 13th. Austin Cindric 14th. 15th for William Byron. 16th Noah Gragson. Kyle Larson in 17th. 18th for Ross Chastain. 19th Ryan Blaney. Todd Gilliland is back to 20th. 21st for Alex Bowman. Josh Berry 22nd. And Kyle Busch again a lap down in 20th. Only caution so far, lap 35. We'll take a quick break. Our first of the stream, you're listening live on KRC to the Cookout Clash at Bowman Gray Stadium.
2 times more absorbent, so you can use less. That's the quicker picker-up.
I didn't mean to unmute it during the commercial. I don't know. I was going to play some race audio for the first time tonight during green flag action. Didn't do any of it during the LCQ, so going to do it a couple times here in the main event. But, yep. Welcome back for those of you tuning into the stream that have just tuned in that I haven't shouted out yet. Jeff Brinks, also welcome to the stream. Didn't see you earlier. And I'll get a chat poll going. I meant to put that up before the start of the stream like I usually do. I'd ask you who you think is going to win the race. So I'll do that right now. Come on. OBS keeps connecting and disconnecting on me. Oh my gosh, this is ridiculous. I might not be able to get the poll up, guys. It's my fault for not getting it before the start of the stream. Really wish that tab wouldn't keep popping up. Challenge battle for position between Shane Van Gisbergen and Chase Briscoe yet again. Briscoe this time going to the inside of the 88. SVG is going to get knocked out of line now. That's the product of not being able to get down to the bottom quick enough after the 19 got around him. Logano gets through as well. And next will be Bubba Wallace, Carson Hocevar soon to follow.
It has led them all from Chris Buescher and Tyler Reddick. Let's have a look at the Xfinity fastest lap. That was Chase Elliott, 63.5 miles per hour. Denny Hamlin, Reddick, Keselowski. Elliott's now led more laps tonight than in his entire career in McLaren.
Yeah, his car looks really solid. The car I'm looking at, though, Kevin, Tyler Reddick in that 45, you can see him getting closer to Buescher. The car just looks like it rolls the center of the corner with a lot of speed. He's able to rotate, put the throttle down.
Yeah, right now we're about 0.6 of a second of fall off, and I predict that that'll get
probably up to about 8/10, 9/10 of a second. So as we see that, you're going to start to see some cars get to be really ill handling as we get into this 50, 60 lap part of the session. And that's where you're going to see stuff like this with Ryan Blaney on the back of Ross Chastain pushing that bumper because we got to go as that leader's catching the back of the pack.
All right, Elliott is going to start lapping cars soon. Let's check with Jamie Little.
Well, Mike, we haven't talked a whole lot about Ryan Blaney, and that's for good reason. Last night when they unloaded, he just wasn't happy with the race car. And then that insult to injury, they were smoking after the heat race. They brought it in, couldn't diagnose what was wrong with it. Well, this morning they came in and they realized there's a hole in the oil coolers. They had to swap out the radiator. So he dropped to the back in the LCQ. He ran some laps just to make sure all things were good, but still not to his liking as he runs right now, 17th.
Blaney started 23rd, up to 17th in less than 50 laps. Now, our race leader, Chase Elliott, he is only about 3 or 4 car lengths behind Kyle Busch. Remember, Busch made a pit stop on the caution lap 21, trying to improve the handling of his car and the drive off.
He hasn't gone anywhere. Yeah, he's dead last right now. So, the handling is not to Kyle's liking. It sounds like up off the corner, he's just struggling.
Yeah, but you go up right in front of him, and there's 4 cars that are battling up. I can promise you, those spotters are telling the leader's coming. He's in your mirror. You got to go.
Yeah,
4-car keeps going backwards too.
Way to the back of the pack. After
Teammate just hit him.
Towards the front, so he's
34.
That's exactly what you see these guys doing. Gilliland is already pushing Gregson. Leader's on me. I got to go, bud. Sorry.
Todd Gilliland got in the wall coming off turn 4 about 4 or 5 laps ago. But the leader is there. Chase Elliott about to begin to lap cars on this very tight, flat quarter mile built around a football field.
Now we're going to see what Chase Elliott has. Now, the scratch on that race car.
Clint, are you going to be aggressive and start using the bumper? How long do you wait? Because usually in these situations, if you're not aggressive and you're not, trying to go forward, it stacks the second, third, fourth place car up, and that gap closes up really quick sometimes because the guys in front of you are going to start getting aggressive and trying to make spots.
Sometimes, isn't that leader, as you keep putting pressure on these lap cars, they do the work for you. And as long as you can follow suit, in other words, when they move a car out of the way, you go with them and just continue on.
Elliott's been able to maintain pretty good gap over Chris Buescher, just about 1 second. And now with a lap car between them, Kyle Busch has been able to pretty much maintain pace, but that's going to get harder as we go forward and more cars get lapped.
That's the other thing you want to do as a leader. You hope to keep cars in between you and that second place car. That's your insurance program.
Caution free through 57 of 200 laps.
No, we had
Yeah.
a caution.
Incident on lap 21.
Jeez, Mike.
And that was Kyle Busch in kind of a threefer, but it was Busch that went around. That was the first and only caution flag.
There you go. At least he corrected himself.
Blaney picks up 1. He's up to 16th after starting shotgun on the field.
See Kyle Busch trying to open that entry up and work on the exit of the corner, and Chase Elliott sitting back there trying to figure out, okay, what do I do?
I also see Buescher not applying pressure to Elliott, and now all of a sudden you see Reddick on the bumper at Buescher. Look for that to be a pass, maybe even before Chase Elliott starts making moves.
Yeah, I think if this thing continues to run great, you're going to see some of these cars tank really bad as we get towards the end of this run, because what's going to happen is that right rear tire is going to wear completely out. And when the right rear tire wears out on these cars, the first thing that happens is it starts wanting to sail the back, getting in the corner, and then all of a sudden you're turning to the right, getting in the corner, and then it makes you tight in the middle of the corner, and
that means you're in the way, right?
Right, you can't put the throttle down, and then when you're really in the way, then it's not fun.
Fastest lap of the race back on lap 8, and Kyle Busch keeping pace with the race leader, trying not to go another lap down.
Reddick's caught Briscoe here, or excuse me, Buescher, and it's inevitable. I think he's going to get him. Just keep applying the pressure. I don't know that you want to move them this early in a race. Try to be still being patient.
Come on, Clint, let's move them. We gotta go.
Oh,
And you
might need that favor later.
Yeah, and I don't know that you right now with Reddick and Busher, I think with their track position, I don't think you'd have to move him very hard and he'd give in because there's a little gap behind Reddick. So you need to take advantage of those situations when you have the opportunity like that. I disagree. I think you need to put the pressure on and start to lean on him a little bit in order to try to get that track position a little bit easier because as this race goes on, it will get harder and harder.
Biggest mover so far that I see is this car right here, Ryan Blaney.
Larson's right there with them, though.
Makes the moves.
I remember Blaney and Larson both started at the back. Blaney's just got a cleaner car, I guess.
So we know that Ryan Blaney's car is typically turns better than most people, and on the long runs, he has been phenomenal through the last couple of years of making that car make good lap time for a long time. And as it goes on longer and longer, he gets stronger and stronger.
70 laps complete. Chase Elliott has led them all from the pole. Chris Buescher in second. Tyler Reddick, Denny Hamlin, Christopher Bell, the top five, as we go side by side.
Another Fox. Oh, jeez, I just dropped my controller. Another Fox side-by-side commercial break here. Chase Elliott still out in front. He has led every lap so far in this race. 74 for 74. In third, but is right there behind Buescher. Denny Hamlin in fourth. Christopher Bell in fifth. Chase Briscoe again in sixth. Brad Keselowski seventh. Joey Logano 8th, Carson Hocevar 9th, Bubba Wallace 10th, Shane Van Gisbergen in 11th, Ryan Blaney up to 12th, Austin Cindric 13th, Kyle Larson 14th, 15th for Ryan Preece, Daniel Suarez in 16th, Ross Chastain 17th, Alex Bowman 18th, William Byron 19th, Josh Berry in 20th, 21st last car in the lead lap is Todd Gilliland, Noah Gragson a lap down in 22nd, Kyle Busch just in front of Elliott still one lap down in 23rd. But again, he is one lap down until he gets passed by the 9. That's just the way the scoring is working on the raw feed at the moment. 76 laps complete out of 200 and a 2.1 second differential between Elliott and Buescher. Fastest lap of the race so far, 14.161 for Chase Elliott. That was back on lap 8, obviously with the clean air and clean track position. Most recent lap by Elliott, 15.4. He is in pretty heavy traffic and waiting to see what's going to end up happening here as we get forward into this race. As the side-by-side run continues, Denny Hamlin has actually passed Tyler Reddick for third recently. Didn't even realize that till just now. So Hamlin's up to third, getting back by Reddick right where he started. Byron goes around right in front of the leaders. He was towards the tail end of the lead lap. And I believe he was on the outside of another car that he was battling for position with right in front of the leaders. Gets turned around, pinballed on the front straightaway. Luckily, Elliott just missed him to the inside. And we're under caution for the second time today, lap 79. Definitely had some contact with the car he was side by side with. It happened so quick, couldn't tell who it was. Have to wait to check out the replay. While we wait for them to come back from the break, we'll take a quick break of our own yet again. You're listening live on KRC. Hamlin could be the guy to watch. He was my pick. Yeah, he quickly got around Reddick. I was focused on Reddick battling Buescher for second, and he must have taken too long or something, and Hamlin gets by the car he owns to get the position. And again, William Byron crashing, bringing out the second caution of the day. Should be coming back from the commercial break here in a couple seconds, as they are.
You're watching the Cookout Clash at Bowman Gray Stadium under caution with 78 laps complete. We'll get Byron, Todd Gilliland getting together there. It's going down live in the Big Easy. The NFL on Fox team hosts America's Super Bowl party with performances by John Batiste and the Juby Red Carpet with Olivia Copo. The Super Bowl 59 pregame show live at 1 Eastern on Fox and streaming on Tubi.
Did you pay that guy, Clay?
Or that time?
Yeah.
You don't have to pay him, buddy. Look at this.
All right. Here's why we're under caution. Off turn 4.
Got squeezed by the 34. Ty Gilliland. Yeah.
Not real estate. Right in front of the leader, Chase Elliott, too.
Couple big hits.
That's how fast things happen. I could have wiped your leader out. So close.
Jamie Little, how's the 24?
It was a wicked ride.
To his radio mic, and he said up to that point his steering was really stiff, so having a hard time turning that race car. And you saw it looked like he had some damage. They brought it in. They checked it out. Rudy Pugel, his crew chief, looked underneath the car, said no damage. So you see him there. He's back out.
Well, and that's not an abnormal problem on these cars. The rack and pinion steering on these things. Sometimes you have a pump or rack that has some. It's harder to turn or has something happen through it throughout the weekend, but that is definitely a common problem that these cars have on occasion with the rack feeling heavy.
Mm-hmm. So scoring is showing Byron 1 lap down along with Noah Gregson. And Kyle Busch now 2 laps in arrears.
Well, we've noted Blaney, right? He's the biggest mover, up 11 positions from his start, up to 12th. I was big on Reddick, but then Denny Hamlin passed him on the outside, Kevin.
Yeah, that we continue to see that outside group, but on that long run right there, you really saw the 11 and some of those other guys. The 12 car was coming hard towards the front of the pack, so it's definitely got an outside group. Larry?
Yeah, you see Chase Elliott, of course, he's led 78 laps from the beginning of the green flag. You saw it took him a while to get by Kyle Busch. I talked to his crew chief, Alan Gustafson, and even at a quarter-mile racetrack, the way that car drives changed when he was in dirty air. He said he started losing the front end and quitting the turns. That's why it took him so long to get by Kyle Busch.
Yeah, and that goes right back to the story that Larry talked about at the beginning, right? Like, you don't want that front to be damaged. You have to use the front bumper, but when it gets damaged, then that traffic becomes tougher. So this 22 laps right here is going to be a tough 22 laps on these worn out tires. You're going to see these cars slip and slide as they take off. A lot of guys will spin the tire on the restart here because the right rear tire is worn out.
Elliott and Buescher line up again, side by side. Chevy Ford front row, 2 Toyotas. Hamlin and Reddick in row 2. There they are in the restart zone, and here we go.
See the 9 up the hill a little bit.
Boom! Bell gave Buescher a bump, and Bell got bumped by Briscoe, and here comes Hocevar. Inside, 3 wide with the 77.
That's not going to work out for very long, is it? No, geez.
And for the lead.
Just like he passed Reddick on the outside.
Hamlin's got that top lane working.
About this as
my pick.
Was happening when we watched
my pick.
on the outside of Reddick, and you see him racing Chase Elliott here for the lead.
He's moving him up the racetrack more than his driver Reddick did.
But this is something that Denny Hamlin could do at Martinsville. He can go places that other guys can't. He's just got such a good feel for these flat tracks and gets his car working to where it'll do things like this.
He also
Chase ran him up the track though.
Chase Elliott ran him way up the track there. He's still on the outside. The other thing he does though, as part of that equation, is safety tires. Deep into these runs, always look for Denny Hamlin to be there. He might go through him this time.
Now Hamlin drops in second, right up against Elliott's bumper, lets him know he's there. Reddick in third, Buescher in fourth, Keselowski and Bell.
Well, we talked a lot about Denny Hamlin as we went through the pre-race shows and through practice, and he struggled in the first practice. We're like, oh man, he can't get off to a good start. Wins his heat race, running up in the front now, and it looks like Denny Hamlin and Chris Gale have got this 11 team under control for sure.
Actually back at ninth, Wallace on the outside of Van Gisbergen drops in line. Well, Denny Hamlin's been doing what the longtime railbirds here at Bowman Gray said can't be done. Passing on the outside. Passing's usually done here by 8 wheels, working better than 4. Or just by moving somebody.
Or in this case, we've got about 12 wheels pushing each other.
It's another one, Blaney, the inside of Frisco.
Chase Briscoe lost 6 spots since that restart. Now, when we get to lap 100, NASCAR will throw the caution and we'll have a halftime break.
Well, you see Denny Hamlin slide the left front tire right there, getting in the corner.
I think he abused those tires a little harder, a little more than he wanted to, trying to race and outrule Elliott on that outside.
Well, I know you don't want to hear this, Clint, but when they get strung out like this and you get close to each other, the arrow does matter here, and it does change the effect of the handling on that car, and that's why I think you see Denny trying to move around. We saw him go up top earlier, but just trying to get some air on the front of that car, and he's got such a unique way of entering the corner so high right there and being able to get such a good run off the corner.
I believe if he can get wheel to wheel with him, right door to door with him on that outside, he will overcome and take the position.
8 laps to go to halfway.
He can take the exit away from him, but you got to be door to door to do that.
Tyler Reddick looking on back here at 11th. Ryan Blaney continues to march from 23rd now up to 11th. He has climbed through half the field.
Yeah, I think Denny Hamlin
Half the field in less than half the laps.
So if he can make this pass before halfway, that opens up a lot of doors for him to be the leader on the restart, the inside on the restart, take advantage of everything that he's got going with his car. And so I think he needs to press as hard as he can for these last 5 laps to try to get that lead.
Well, I think that's how he's going to be able to pass it too. I think it's going to be pressing on the bumper of the 9 car, just like you see right there.
Hamlin won the Clash last year in California, and his new crew chief, Chris Gale, pretty much dominated that race with 9 hits behind the wheel. 4 to go to halfway when they come past start finish.
There he is, looking to the outside again.
He's got a good run this time.
Oh, he's going to get underneath him.
Puts it to the inside.
Got him looking
They
at
trade paint. They're dead even at the line.
Showed him that outside, boom. Go to the inside.
First lead change.
Time to halfway. Elliott looking back on the inside. We've got a new leader for the first time today after Elliott left 97 laps. Denny Hamlin pulling away, and now Tyler Reddick to second. One lap to halfway. After everybody cycled through the start-finish line, we'll see the caution flag and the halftime break. Blaney has made his way into the top 10 after starting last. And there is the caution flag.
Me waving my imaginary towel.
Chase Elliott led 9 with Tyler Reddick in tow. We are halfway in the Clash in Winston-Salem.
Pretty quick. Third caution of the race will be the halfway period stoppage in the Clash, as we have seen. A chance to refuel cars, making sure they got enough to the end, change tires, make some minor adjustments, as again you would traditionally see on a local short track race if you were to see a longer race length. And we are going to do that for the Clash here with it being 200 laps, just as we've seen with the Clash on the LA Coliseum side of things. Same with here because there are no live pit stops. So no positions will change with the adjustments taking place. So again, track position matters. Denny Hamlin to the lead after starting third. First lead change of the race came at lap 98 after Chase had led the first 97 laps. And now we have Hamlin out in front of the field. Tyler Reddick is scored in second. In third is Chase Elliott. Chris Buescher in fourth. Brad Keselowski fifth. Christopher Bell sixth. Carson Hocevar seventh. Joey Logano eighth. Bubba Wallace ninth. Ryan Blaney 10th. Shane Van Gisbergen is 11th. Chase Briscoe in 12th. 13th for Austin Cindric. 14th Kyle Larson. Daniel Suarez 15th, 16th for Ross Chastain, Josh Berry 17th, Alex Bowman 18th, Ryan Preece 19th, 20th for Todd Gilliland, Noah Gragson in 21st, William Byron 22nd, Kyle Busch 23rd, free pass to Busch. He'll get a lap back. Noah Gragson had the free pass to caution before that, which was the Byron incident. Byron's still in the race and on the lead lap as well. Busch will now go from 2 laps down to 1 lap down, and Gragson went from 1 lap down to the lead lap on his free pass that was awarded. So halfway break, the reason for the caution as of right now, and again, red flag stoppage, but teams will get to work on their equipment. And we will continue the second half of this race live on KRC. We'll take another short break, and we will continue on the second half of this race at Bowman Gray Stadium. Up to 47 likes on the stream. Be sure to hit the like button if you haven't done so yet. Subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. We will be live for the Daytona 500 pole qualifying Wednesday night, February 11th. That'll be the next live commentary stream on the channel. My half birthday. Not that I care about half birthdays, but just throwing it out there, you know. Not about me. The Daytona 500 pole qualifying is what we'll be talking about that night. And we will be live, I believe. Obviously, we'll have the start times and the streaming schedule for Speed Week posted when we get to that Monday or Sunday before Speed Week. I'll probably put a post out on Super Bowl Sunday, honestly. Probably be a convenient time to do so. And we'll set ourselves up for Speed Week when we get there. We'll have some NASCAR 08 streams leading between now and then. Tomorrow we will be racing. If you like short track racing, by the way, we'll be racing at Bristol tomorrow for the Food City 500 on NASCAR 08. We're going to get things kicked off at 5 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. So again, 5 p.m. Eastern, we will go live Bristol, baby, on NASCAR 08. Detroit Red Wings just scored. I got a score alert if you heard my phone buzz. 2-1, baby. They're hot. They are hot.
North Carolina on a chilly night, just above turns 3 and 4 with Jamie McMurray, Chris Myers, and enjoying as we expected. This is the halfway mid-race break, but a little tame. We don't expect things to really pick up till the last 20. Obviously, Chase Elliott, the poles that are dominating. Saw Denny Hamlin there at the end. Ryan Blaney has made up a lot of ground as well. What's got your attention?
Yeah, I mean, not completely surprised that it was a little bit tame at the beginning, knowing how crazy the last chance qualifier race was, and these guys all watched that. So knowing it, if you don't have that right away, it got a little bit strung out. But I'm gonna tell you the most impressive thing for me, and Harvick hit on it a little bit there, was that Denny Hamlin was able to make some passes on the outside. We got that caution late. He got to line up on the outside of Chase Elliott. Clearly had the better car. If I'm one of these guys right now, though, Chris, hitting the spotters, I want my spotter to tell me that line that Denny ran. And Chase tried to defend it a little bit, entered just a little bit higher into the corners. Not really a whole car length, but just defending a little bit. You got to let them know that so they can defend it.
Yeah, and there's a reason. I mean, 4 Clash wins for Denny Hamlin with 4 different crew chiefs, including winning last year when it was at the Coliseum. Still quarter mile here and 100 laps to go. Green flag laps. Let's just recap. As we said, tame, but take us through, Jamie, starting obviously with Chase on the pole.
And you see Chase was able to get a good start, and we really saw those top 4 car guys, or the top 4 guys, line up and get out. Now Noah Gragson, when we interviewed him earlier, you see him get into to Kyle Busch. That actually came from another hit behind Noah Gragson. He struggled a little bit in this race. You see right here, Chase Elliott was getting ready to lap Todd Gilliland, William Byron. That wall is not straight. We highlighted that. Caught William Byron off guard, got him spun around. Blaney, though, has been a good car. I've watched him. He's been able to pass. We know he started at the very back. Has been able to make his way up a little bit, and then you see Denny Hamlin with the win there.
So we saw Hamlin, Blaney, and you also mentioned who else can make a move to challenge, whether it's Hamlin or Chase Elliott here in these last 100 green flag laps?
Yeah, I mean, I like Reddick. I know that Denny was able to get by him. Maybe a small adjustment. It looked to me like Reddick was pretty conservative right there. So I'm looking for him to be good. And also, I mean, Chase Elliott was really good at the start of that. It seemed like the last 20, 25 laps, it faded a little bit for him. we're going to have more cautions, though. And I say that because having more cautions, you're not going to maybe have quite the tire fall off that you had in that first run with all the green flag laps.
Yeah, it's worth mentioning of the 23 drivers, only 7 of them have actually raced here before this weekend. Obviously, the heat races, etc. All right, let's check in with our team of pit reporters. And first, I think we'll check in with Jamie Little. Jamie?
Yes, Chris. Well, we talked all night about how unique this place is, a quarter-mile track. Well, how about the setup outside the racetrack? Close confines here, but it makes it easy for all these crews to work. You see over to my left, all the haulers are there. And then you hear over here to the left, it's like the makeshift garages. All the pit boxes are lined up, all the crews working. And what you're looking at right now is pit road. They're actually making their adjustments, working on the race cars right now. Now, keep in mind, the pit crews are not here because they have plenty of time on these pit stops. They don't need those guys until we go to Daytona in 2 weeks. So what are they allowed to change on the car? For that, let's go to Regan Smith.
Well, Jamie, it's quite the scene. Obviously, these stops are going to be timed, a certain limited time that the crews can work on the race cars right now. Everybody trying to make adjustments, trying to make the cars just a little bit better. Many of the adjustments they can make very similar to what they would make at a normal race weekend. Air pressure, maybe some shock adjustments, maybe a little bit of track bar, which can make the car looser, tighter, some weight. Larry McReynolds, though, I got a question for you. They are not going to be fueling these race cars tonight.
Yeah.
These guys are already tight. Typically, the fuel helps free the race car up, make it turn better through the corner. What are they going to do if they're already tight and they can't put fuel in these things?
Yeah, obviously, when you don't put fuel in the car, then the nose, you gain front percentage, and that makes the car tighter. So what they'll have to do, even if their car is driving good, Regan, they're going to have to make adjustments, go on those 4-sticker tires, and not dump in fuel. But the biggest challenge for these teams right now, and I've heard it for the last 2 nights, is getting the car to rotate more through the center of the corner, but don't hurt the drive off. And that absolutely is like walking a tightrope. It's normal adjustments you would make on a normal pit stop, but I guarantee you they are thinking about just what Regan Smith said, Chris, not dumping fuel, but putting 4 fresh Goodyear tires on.
All right, well, thank you, Larry, for wondering who that was. It's Larry's private security standing by right next to him.
That's how cold it was.
Yes, just to make sure. All right, let's head back up to the broadcast booth at Clint Boyer.
All right, guys, I'm going to talk to Ryan Blaney. Hey, Ryan Blaney, it's Warren and the boys up in the Fox booth. You got us?
Yes, I do. What's up?
Man, what's up? Holy cow, you're all the way up to 10th place already, all the way from the trunk. Tell me about your race car. By the way, your car doesn't have a scratch on it. Everybody else's is beaten battered.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep it as clean as I can. But yeah, I mean, our Great Lakes Menard Ford Mustang, pretty good. We made big improvements from yesterday. I didn't think we were great in practice with the heat race, and the 12 boys really put their heads down and got it better. So, yeah, that was fun. Hopefully this thing can, continue to log laps, and I feel pretty good on old tires. But hopefully the fans have enjoyed the show so far. I know I've had fun, so the last 100 should be just as entertaining as the first. Probably a little bit more.
Well, all right, I like that. Stay on that path. Preview this last 100 laps for me. What are you expecting out there?
Well, I hope to get, I'm already halfway there. I hope to get the other half here in the second half of this race and hit for the win. But I'm sure there's going to be a lot more contact, obviously, as these things come to a close. Tippers run in. Honestly, I thought that it's been racing all around the track. So cool slowdown crowd here in Bowman Gray, and yeah, prepare for the fireworks.
All right, Ryan, we will do. Thanks for your time.
Hey, Clint, and if all you drivers too, 1 week after the Super Bowl, drivers will start your engines for the Great American Race on Fox. Daytona 500 will launch the 2025 NASCAR season in full gear. It's February 16th, only on Fox, 12:30. Free race for 2 hours before the start of the race. William Byron, the defending Daytona 500 champ. Clint Boyer asked us to show him every chance we get. Both of them are getting on my nerves. I gotta say. Continue the ball.
When the temperature drops.
All right. Once again, Denny Hamlin, our race leader in this one. Tyler Reddick second. Chase Elliott is third. Chris Buescher fourth. Brad Keselowski fifth. Christopher Bell sixth. Carson Hocevar seventh. Joey Logano eighth. Bubba Wallace ninth. And Ryan Blaney will round out the top 10. Upcoming race starts will begin the second half of the race. Again, caution laps do not count in tonight's Cookout Clash at Bowman Gray Stadium. David Marks, thanks for tuning in. He's pulling for Blaney. It's my guy. My pick to win the race coming in was Denny Hamlin. Chat poll right now. We'll take a look at that for the first time. 39 votes have been casted for who you think is going to win the race. We're going to close this poll off with 50 laps to go because I didn't get it started until a little later into this race. So usually, end of stage 2 or halfway, we'll close. Casted 46% saying Chase Elliott will win. He has led the most laps, but he did fall to third right before the halfway caution. Denny Hamlin, who now leads, is at 17% of the votes, 28% for Tyler Reddick, 10% saying Christopher Bell. All 4 of those drivers as of right now are inside the top 5 and have been for a vast majority of the race. So we're just going to take another, and when they come back from the commercial break, we should be pretty close to getting back to racing, I would assume. Be sure to hit the subscribe button again if you haven't yet. More daily NASCAR content, live commentary streams every NASCAR race weekend for truck, Xfinity, Cup races, Cup practice qualifying, all the way throughout the course of this NASCAR season, as we did for last year. And the year before that, we didn't start doing the truck and Xfinity races till recently, but needless to say, we will do all that again this year outside of races that I go to in person. When I do go to a race in person, more often than not, it's just for the Cup Series race. So we'd still have live commentary for the lower series and then practice qualifying because I'm only at the track on Sunday. Race highlight video from the grandstands. Cool videos. Pretty much put a compilation of about 20 to 25 minutes of the race. The best points of the race uploaded. Again, a highlight video. But it's the point of view of where I'm at the grandstands. Give you a feel for what it's like to go to a NASCAR race or experience a race from the stands and give that perspective. So we'll have that various times throughout the season as well. No caution laps should count in any race. Well, I don't know about that. The races would have to be shortened significantly if that was going to be the case. Because it is, it would be pretty lengthy. Wouldn't be having 500 laps at Martinsville anymore, I'll tell you that much. Gosh, that would take like 7 hours on certain occasions. All right, cars are about to roll back out on the track, so we'll get this break in. You're listening live on KRC. The Busch. Oh, I said it again. That's strike 3. I'm out. No, I'm kidding. We're still here. Clash, Bowman Gray Stadium. Live, KRC. Couple of rowdy fans there. They're probably hoping to get a better run out of Busch in the second half of this race. Is going to get a lap back. So he'll be 1 lap down instead of 2. Get a quick caution. He's back on the lead lap. Started the main event. Again, we had 8 cautions and a 75-lap LCQ, 3 cautions and 100 laps so far in the main event. And again, Elliott has led the most, leading the first 96 laps unofficially, and then the last 4, or most recent 4, were led by Hamlin. Hamlin started third. Chase Elliott started on the pole, and the driver who started at the halfway mark. Biggest mover of the race, Ryan Blaney, from last, 23rd to 10th. And Kyle Larson in the 5, up to 14th after starting 21st. Those are the 2 biggest movers. Biggest surprise of the race, probably Shane Van Gisbergen, who was running as high as 7th at one point and spent a pretty good portion of the first half of this thing in the top 10. Fell to 11th on those older tires just before the end of the first half. We'll see if he can get back in contention for a top 10 here as we get later and later. I'll tell you what, those first 100 laps flew by. Probably less than 45 minutes. Well, less than that, maybe closer to a half hour by the time we got things started. And after these crews had about 10 minutes to work on their cars, we're about to get this back to racing here. 1 to go signal this time by. They went through the choose the most recent lap. What are we going to have to offer here at Bowman Gray? I'm surprised he didn't get the free pass with the caution? I don't know anymore. I feel like they make the rules up in exhibition races as they go. I would have thought he was going to get the free pass. It's saying 2 laps down on our screen. Now they're getting the 1 to go, so they did wave off the restart the last time. Line on the front stretch is kind of like 2/3 of the way down. The front straightaway, not right in the middle of the front straightaway. Slightly unique layout. It's like Talladega of the short tracks. It honestly really is, if you think about it. Green flag back in the air for Hamlin. Front row inside lane, outside lane Tyler Reddick, and then you got Chase Elliott and Chris Buescher in row 2 just behind him. Double wide most of the way through the field off this initial restart. Hamlin going to widen out the bottom lane of the racetrack through 3 and 4. Tyler Reddick still hanging on the outside, but not nose to nose anymore. The nose of Reddick's car is barely hanging on the right rear fender of Hamlin, and now Hamlin is clear. Reddick quickly to the bottom, gets a bump from Chase Elliott, moved back up the track, more contact as they battle for second off turn 4. And now Reddick is clear again down into 1. No contact from the front bumper of the 9 that time. And we got a spin. Larson's around. Couple others are around. Larson and the 19 of Chase Briscoe. Briscoe kind of spun well after Larson. I don't know if he got hit from behind when people were checking up, but Larson definitely got sent. Larson was in the outside lane, and it looked like he might have had contact from Austin Cindric. Slid, hit the back of the 88, straightened up, slid again off the front bumper of the 2, and then hard to tell exactly where the 19 got spun, but he went around also. So just 2 laps into the second half of the race, and we catch a caution at lap 102. This will be our 4th yellow of the event. Halfway to where we had in the LCQ, which again was 8 cautions. I've noticed these guys haven't been getting much traction in the grass compared to what you would normally see on a typical NASCAR race weekend when they're driving around in the grass. And I don't know if that's because the area had rain recently or if it's because of the cooler temperatures and maybe there's some moisture down there. It's not frosty. It's not quite that cool outside. Lazy spin for both cars. No major damage on either Briscoe or Larson. But obviously that's going to send them both towards the back half of the field. Tail end of the pack. Larson will line up in front of Briscoe this time. And we'll go back to the choose once again. Hamlin on the inside, Reddick on the outside, just as we were the last restart. Row 2 will be Chase Elliott and Chris Buescher. Row 3, Christopher Bell, Brad Keselowski, Joey Logano, Carson Hocevar. Row 4, Ryan Blaney, and Bubba Wallace, row 5. Court battle still going on between NASCAR and Michael Jordan. I don't know how much of that is finished up or still ongoing, to be completely honest. At this point. I'm sure it's still I would imagine it's still ongoing. Stuff like that usually lingers around for a minute. I haven't really followed it as much since I found out that 2311 was getting their charters for the start of the season. Ever since then, I really haven't been following it as close as I was. Because that was probably the biggest deal, at least for me as a fan. Wanting to know if they were going to have their secure spots every weekend or not, especially coming to Daytona, where we're going to be seeing a lot of open entries for the 500 here in about another week and a half. All right, pace car's been off now. Green flag back in the air. Busch does get a lap back there, so now he is back to 1 lap down. He did not get the free pass at the halfway caution, but he did during the natural yellow. Denny Hamlin and Reddick again side by side on the restart. Reddick good for the first lap after the restart. We'll see if Hamlin runs him wide in 3 and 4 again. Kind of did, but no contact that time. Reddick is still holding strong. Not nose to nose quite, but the front bumper maybe to the number on the right side of the 11's door. couldn't get to the bottom quick enough. Chase Elliott settled his battle very on the fresh tires earlier, so maybe this is his best chance to try to get back to the lead if he can make quick work for second on Reddick. Hamlin's got about a car length or two ahead of the rest of the field. Several battles going on in the top portion of the pack, including a battle side-by-side between Christopher Bell and Carson Hocevar, who are dead even that last time by at the line as well. Chase Elliott, Tyler Reddick working the wheels as they battle still. They've been side-by-side for second for several laps now. Probably a good 5 or 6 laps they've been door-to-door. And none of them can get the edge over one another. If anything, Elliott was close to clearing him a couple laps ago, but that last time by, Reddick put up a bigger fight and gained a bit of time on that outside compared to that of Chase Elliott. You hit the drains down the bottom of the track, and that really does upset the car on the bottom and allows for the car on the top to get a better drive off. Oh, Hocevar spun and into the wall on the outside of the racetrack. Looked to be towards turn 3, and that was the chrome horn of the 20. Christopher Bell. He hit the tire barrier there towards the entrance of turn 3 in that wall, and Hocevar seems to be hooked on it. Can't drive off of it. So gonna need some assistance from a wrecker to get a push or a pull, whatever needed to get away from that wall, before the safety team could go to work and try to a little bit more. Seeing how the caution started. Oh, Logano got into the 20, so it wasn't even all on Bell. Logano hit the 20 hooked the 77. Joey just drove it in pretty deep. Drove right through the 20 car. And the 20 was still slightly on the outside of the 77, getting into turn 3. Caught Hocevar in the right rear. Spun him back driver's side door first towards the wall in turn 3. I'll tell you what, it's a good thing that tire wall's there, because that would have been a more gnarlier hit at that angle, even on a slower short track like this. Hocevar's made his way around to the pit area of the racetrack. Not really a pit lane or a pit road, but I'll call it a pit procedure area of the track. It's our next caution. 5th one of the day, 4th for incident. And again, the pinball effect there between Logano to Bell to Hocevar. Hocevar was the one who spun. And Kyle Busch will be back on the lead lap with the free pass this time around. So he got his 2 quick yellows to begin the second half of the race. So any Kyle Busch fans in the chat, he is back on the lead lap. Long time coming. He's been a lap down since he had that spin all the way back on lap 20. It's been nearly 90 laps. Fastest lap of the race is still Chase Elliott's 14.161, which is an average speed of 63.555 miles per hour way back on lap 8. Only driver to run their fastest lap of the race since the second half started was Kyle Larson at lap 108, ran a 14.518 in traffic. Obviously, you're seeing more 14.2s the closer you get to the front of the pack, where things get more spaced out once we get longer than a few laps into a green flag run. It is 2311 and Front Row Motorsports, not just 2311, but somebody specifically asked about Jordan in there. But yeah, it's both of them, both those teams. And I figured they were still in an ongoing battle, and that'll probably be ongoing through a good chunk of this season as well before things finally get settled to some sort of an agreement between both parties. 12 laps led now for Denny Hamlin, our current leader. But again, Chase Elliott did get back to second on that last restart, getting back by Tyler Reddick. No black flag, should go back 10 yards. Yeah, because this is around a football field, so that would only be fitting. Yeah, 10-yard penalty, replay down, replay lap. That's what our cautions are indicating here. We are replaying the lap, considering that the laps don't count under caution. On paper, it sounds like it could be a bad idea, but the flow of the race hasn't been terrible by any means. Although we have had 3 cautions at 8 laps now, but one of those was mandatory at lap 100. Yes, as long as it doesn't linger the entirety of the second half of the race. I think we're due for another longer green flag run like we had a couple times towards the start of this race. Probably get another 30 to 40 lap green flag run in there, and then I think we're going to have, after a long green flag run, nothing but cautions for the final probably 30 to 40 laps or so. That's going to be my hunch, how I think it's going to go there. Yeah, I mean, it's a lot with the charter system. It's a bunch of stuff, really. Charter system, share of the revenue, basically what it boils down to.
Tuesday and Thursday for the number 1 on the charts NASCAR podcast, along with the biggest name in sports and entertainment. Kevin Harvick's Happy Hour presented by Echo Park Automotive.
Oh, look at that. We got some vintage.
Fan.
That's vintage gear.
Hey.
That's a Moyer fan.
You know what he's doing? He's listening to Clint's podcast.
Oh, he's back. Yes. Oh, maybe not. That is awesome. Too many hot dogs.
All right, 1 to go. It's going to be Toyotas again on the front row after.
He's trying. He's trying to stay up.
Hamlin and Elliott. Hamlin and Reddick, rather, than Elliott Pusher. Chevy 4, row 2. For Toyota, Keselowski Bell, row 3. Logano Wallace, row 4. Blaney and Cindric round out the top 10. As we get ready to resume, 92 laps to go. Race cars away. Here they come.
Green, green, green.
Boy, that's as close as 23 cars can get anywhere we go.
20 car there. Ryan Blaney, he's going to have to start making something happen here. He's up a couple spots from where he restarted in 10th up to 8th.
You see the threats are starting to come from the back, SVG in the back of him, and so on and so forth. Chastain's in the back of them. These guys their patience is over.
7th place side by side. Blaney and Bell. 12 in the 20. No pressure behind, and they drop in single file. So now, on the outside, Bubba Wallace trying to get past Shane Van Gisbergen and challenge Bell.
You have to be careful. We've seen it time and time again. When you fill that hole and fill that gap and slide in there, it really stacks them up behind you.
Chastain gave a little bump to the left rear corner of his teammate, but could not capitalize.
Oh, he's still hitting him. I like Chastain's paint scheme.
Suarez up the outside against Cindric, and that may put all 3 Trackhouse cars together here. He prevails. Turn 2.
Oh, big one.
Larson and Byron both trying to come up from the rear.
Not a good main event for these two.
Spinning in turn 2. That lap around 6. Hendrick Motorsports led the first 96 laps of this race. Chase Elliott And a lap ago, Byron got squeezed up toward the barrier out of turn 4, but
Yeah, that just looked like the 19 into the back of the 77 into the 5. I think my favorite thing that happens when the cars spin out here, Clint, I find myself looking into the grandstands because
oh yeah,
everything that happens here at Bowman Gray Stadium has a reaction.
sure
I
does.
thought you were going to tell me that it's the fact that you're up here calling it instead of being spun out down there.
Well, I enjoy that part too. I love the fact that I can take my headset off when I get done. I don't have to worry about any of these people yelling at me for spinning their favorite driver out or anything else that might have happened that night. So that part is much less stressful.
We're choosing again.
And once again, it's pretty much odd even all the way back through the field.
And that's the natural progression of everything that happens as we go through these race weekends. These guys just learn. And then it went from, hey, we got to be on the bottom to, hey, we don't want to give up any track position because the outside group is working fine.
There he is, guys. Keep an eye on that 12 car. It's getting bigger. Up to 7.
It's like cue the Jaws music.
Talk Joey Logano, so dominant at new racetracks. Well, here's another new racetrack, and Logano is going to fire off 6th on this restart. I believe that's the highest he has been in the running order tonight.
The one thing that I would keep an eye on here is when that 11 car is able to get the lead, it allows him to just use the whole racetrack, manage his pace, and I believe he's able to save some tire and take care of his car.
Throwing it out there, Chase Elliott's the only Chevy in the top 9. Shane Van Gisbergen in 10th is the next highest Chevrolet.
Green flag again.
So very impressed with those RFK cars. Those cars are running strong.
Now, can Chase Elliott capitalize? He's on the inside of Reddick. Can he retake second spot here? And then, Clint, those RFK cars right ready to pounce behind him.
Yeah, they've just been squeaky clean so far, right? Not a scratch on any of their cars, just biding their time, getting to the end. Oh, now you got Rad up the track. Blaney underneath of him. Christian Blaney made that pass.
Pusher moves up 1, so does Blaney.
Yeah, I think Ryan Blaney is the car that.
Oh,
turn! Keselowski goes around off the front. Bubba Wallace. Kosovar spins. Bowman spins.
As soon as I get by here.
Did you see Blaney get in the throttle right in the center of the corner? His ability to be able to throttle and carry speed through the center and keep turning, that's where he's making all those passes.
Brad Keselowski was moving up well through the field, up 6th place. Looks like he's going to head to the pits. And here's a look.
Right there, and Bubba Wallace said, sorry about that. Didn't go time here, and we got to go.
That's what I was saying about doing that earlier. You have to be careful and mindful. Just because you're clear right there, you stack everybody up and they push them, even if they were not trying to. Everybody else behind them pushes them.
jeez.
And that is the aftermath.
Yeah, and a lot of times when you try to fill that hole, you have to slow down a little bit, and the guy behind you is coming forward with his momentum, and it just winds up in a situation like this. Look at Larson's head.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen it too many times from right here in this bird's eye view right here. I mean, especially getting into 3. Don't do it. If it's even remotely close,
Watch this. Watch his head.
give him the bottom one more lap.
Watch his head right here. I mean, that's a full wreck, and you know that's the one thing about these cars that they've been working on with the front bumper, the foam, and the way that these cars came in the front and the back. But as a driver, you feel some of those impacts like that. I mean, that probably bottomed his Hans strap out, and you don't really realize how violent it is inside of these cars. As tough as these cars are, when you get some of those nose to tail impacts, and you're not ready for them. You're not stopping that anyway, but
No, I mean, to your point.
All right.
No video game.
This is for now. The second place car, Chase Elliott took the inside. So the third and fourth place car, Busher, goes to the outside, and so does Reddick. That's a little different from what we've seen on past chooses here.
2 more spots.
Looks like Briscoe is done. Window net down on the 19.
Larry Mack, these cars that are getting under these cautions with damage, can they get tires?
Yeah, the only thing you can do as far as changing the tire is if you have a flat tire, Mike, and it's 1 for 1. If you have 1 flat tire, you can't change all 4. You can only change the flat tire that you have. But remember, they don't have any more sticker tires anyhow. The only real good set of tires they have is a set from that third and final qualifying practice they had last night.
Which was only 4 minutes for about 15 laps. Thanks, Larry. Hamlin Elliott, Toyota Chevy, front row. Ford Toyota. Ford with Busher to bring them back to the green. Chris Busher takes the fight to Hamlin on the outside. Elliott to the inside for the lead.
Hamlin slid up, pushed him high there, and opened the door up for Elliott on the bottom.
Crowd's going to be going wild here in a second. Blaney's going for third.
That spot him, guys.
Ryan Blaney.
Wow.
Nah. No. Oh, Elliott got into Denny. Crowd's roaring.
place is going crazy.
How do they not have the crowd noise on?
A lot of racing left here.
The guy that these front 2 guys don't want to slip up and let by is that 12 car because see Chris Busher sideways behind Ryan Blaney right there.
Yeah, Wallace gave Busher.
Where'd Bubba come from?
Him out the green, trying to get underneath.
Bubba's going for fourth.
Back on the outside. Chase Briscoe out of the race, steering issues. And Elliott pulls away, single file for the moment. Elliott, Hamlin, Blaney, then Busher outside trying to hold off Bubba Wallace, but he can't get down to the inside. "72 laps to go. Elliott, Hamlin, Blaney, 1, 2, 3 as we take you Fox side by side.
70 laps to go on our Fox side-by-side commercial break for those of you watching on your local Fox affiliate. For those of you listening and or watching live here on KRC on the YouTube channel, be sure to hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button if you haven't done so yet either, as we are getting closer to the finish of tonight's stream. Obviously, we'll be live post-race for an interview with the race winner, per usual. And no major predictions or fantasy things to go over, so this post-race is going to be a lot shorter than usual for the Cup Series. For those of you that have not joined the Fantasy League yet, be sure to do so. I want to make sure to highlight that tonight. You can join our Fantasy League on the NASCAR mobile app or NASCAR.com website. Go to the quick link section at the top of the screen on NASCAR.com and or the top left-hand corner of the screen where the 3 bars are on the NASCAR app. There will be a Fantasy Live tab. It is free to sign up. All you need is your email. If you win our league championship for the regular season and or playoffs, you get 2 tickets to any NASCAR race of your choosing the following season. For those of you that I've gotten into contact with of last year's winners, Congratulations, obviously, and your tickets will be coming the closer that you get to that said race date. And as far as there's one person that hasn't gotten into contact back with me yet from last year, and that would be Inside Uranus. So be sure to let me know what race you want to go to if you are checking the stream out here tonight as well. As far as the league goes, the league name is KRC League. So KRC in all caps, excuse me. Let's see here, KRC, all caps, space, capital L on league. And I'll actually walk you through it real quick while they're on the commercial break. And if you go to NASCAR.com, so I'll type in NASCAR.com. And it'll say fantasy right here. So the fantasy tab, you'll want to click on that. And it obviously didn't start this week. So Fantasy Live. And I am not logged into the league at the moment. So it says check back February 11th. So maybe you can't. Oh, I'm not signed in. If I were to sign in, I would imagine the league would be open already. So once you sign in, go to the league. I'm just assuming it's not on here because I'm not signed in at the moment. But yeah, you'll want to go into join league. And then KRC League is where you'll end up searching for, clicking on. That's our league. Again, KRC in all caps, space, capital L on league. And again, that is NASCAR.com and or the NASCAR mobile app. Blaney's really been trying to work over Denny Hamlin for second for about a half a dozen or more laps now. Really, ever since they went to commercial, about 70 to go. We're already down to just over 50 laps left right now. 57 laps remain in this race. Blaney right on that back bumper of the 11 car. Nose to tail. Blaney starting a wider arc into the corner, kind of diamond cutting middle off. Little tap to the back of the 11 in the center of turns 1 and 2. You really don't want to get into them in the center of the corner. That's just going to push them further ahead, especially with these next-gen cars. Bubba Wallace seemingly out of nowhere, working his way to fourth. He did get by Chris Buescher for that spot during the last commercial break, and he's only 1.2 seconds off the lead. Fastest car on track the last lap was Chase Elliott. No, Ryan Blaney. Blaney was the quickest car that last lap. Elliott the second quickest car. Blaney underneath the 11 of Denny Hamlin. They're side by side for second now, and Blaney's clear into turn 1 with 53 to go. From worst to second and trying to go worst to first here for Ryan Blaney. He started dead last in 23rd. Can he get all 22 positions? He's got plenty of time to get by Chase Elliott, but you have to factor in if we get any cautions from here on out. Nothing is set in stone as far as trying to keep the track position, although your best chances of winning are obviously going to be towards the front of the field where he and Elliott run. Elliott has led the most laps in this race so far, as mentioned several times. He has led just over 100 laps, 124 laps led. 2 different times, him and Hamlin have traded the lead back and forth now a couple times. And the only other driver to get credited with the lap lead was Tyler Reddick on a restart, as he was side by side with Chase Elliott early on. Ryan Blaney trying to become the 4th different driver to lead a lap in this race. 49 to go this time by.
Okay. Carry the speed in the center, carry an entry, get on the throttle. That thing's making really good grip.
Just inside, 50 laps to go. Blaney looking over Chase Elliott from just inches away. Hamlin now a full second back. I got Wallace, Buescher, and Logano.
And you saw it right there in the front of your screen. Lap traffic's coming. Would possibly be the first time we've seen lap traffic.
Yeah, we know that Chase Elliott caught lap traffic at the end of that first run, and the comment that he had was the fact that he felt like his car got tighter when he got to the back of the field. So that's going to happen again, most likely, once they get there.
You see this view. See how he rolls that center, stays right on the bottom and catches him right in the middle of the corner.
Elliott trying to become the second Elliott to win the Clash. His dad brought Ford Thunderbird number 9 to victory in the 1987 running of the Busch Clash. Joey Logano up for 5th, passing Chris Buescher.
Penske on the flat tracks. Here we are again. 2nd and 5th. Every year. 22, 23, 24, and now 25.
Well, we're getting close to the pay window opening, Mike. So that's usually when Logano shows up.
Defending champion of the NASCAR Cup Series, which begins in earnest in Daytona Beach in 2 weeks.
All right,
They go to 500.
Chase did a great job of making short time with Suarez, the left car there. I think Blaney's, can't say it, I think he's starting to lose grip.
It's interesting how
Yes.
this gap comes and goes.
Chase Elliott's doing a great job of managing his tire to drive off, and the 9 car looks superior.
And we're down to 40 to go, but lapping has begun. Chase Elliott.
Yep, 40 laps left here. We'll go through the full field running order and take our final ad break of the stream. Chase Elliott is the race leader, only 0.2 of a second ahead of Ryan Blaney in P2. Denny Hamlin is 3rd, Bubba Wallace 4th, and Joey Logano 5th. Chris Buescher in 6th, Ross Chastain 7th, Tyler Reddick 8th, Shane Van Gisbergen in 9th, and Austin Cindric rounds out the top 10. Ryan Preece in 11th, Christopher Bell 12th, Josh Berry 13th, Todd Gilliland 14th, and Kyle Busch 15th. 16th for Kyle Larson, Carson Hocevar 17th, William Byron 18th, 19th for Alex Bowman, and Noah Gragson is 20th. And Brad Keselowski, Daniel Suarez 21st, 22nd, each a lap down. Chase Briscoe off track, only driver out of the race. Suspension issue there for him, or steering issue, excuse me, for the 19 of Briscoe has pulled him out of the race. He's the only driver that is retired. Again, Chase Elliott has led the most laps so far. Blaney yet the lead. Biggest mover, though, from last to second. 138 laps led and counting for Chase Elliott at this moment. He's led 2 different times. He started on the pole. So you got the pole sitter versus the guy that started last down the home stretch for the win in the Cookout Clash 2025 at Bowman Gray Stadium. 34 laps to go. Again, we'll take our final ad break of the stream. You're listening live on KRC. Tim Brown in the chat saying that Blaney made some good halftime adjustments. I'll say not just Blaney, but even Chase Elliott, because he seems to be better in traffic now than what he was earlier in the race as well. Because he's holding off Ryan Blaney, who has probably had the quickest car all the way through the night. Denny Hamlin's falling behind. Obviously, he had a good long-run car. Ran down Elliott before the halfway mark. Got passed by Elliott and is losing time to not only the 9, but the 12. Losing time in lap traffic as well now. Alex Bowman going a lap down recently as well, and Noah Gragson. So 4 cars, 1 lap down. 1 car out of the race, 18 on the lead lap. Last car on the lead lap is William Byron, teammate of Chase Elliott. That could be a huge differentiating factor in this battle here between Elliott and Blaney. I'm sure Elliott might have more of a leeway to get by the 24 car than for the 12 to get by him and try to run down the 9 for the race win. Even with this being a non-points race, I'm sure we could still see that coming into play. Joey Logano putting a tight battle on Bubba Wallace for 4th as he's ran him down as well. And Bubba's actually simultaneously gaining on Denny Hamlin for 3rd. So I can see a situation here where the 23 and or the 22 could get by the 11 if we continue to stay green towards the end of the race. 27 to go.
And Ryan Blaney. Blaney closes it back down here. Hamlin 3rd, Wallace, Logano, the top 5.
Yeah, and Chase Elliott, as he's gone through traffic, he's not been messing around. He's been giving those guys a couple shots to the bumper and getting them up the racetrack and moving on, because Ryan Blaney had, I think that gap is there, but I still believe he's better.
And I think he's doing a good job of timing where he's catching them and where he's making those moves. Very efficient with his passes to the lap cars.
Very efficient. But I think as we get to this 25-lap window, that's really when Ryan Blaney You know, it was low key nice as he would get to the end of the runs here with 25 to go and had that long run speed.
Chastain up to 6 also. Another guy moving through the field in the back half of the race. I think he was definitely outside the top 10 at halfway.
Captain Roger
12th maybe?
second Sunday in a row with big win. Penske Porsches won the Rolex 24-hour race in Daytona last week. Watch out.
And this guy right here, Tyler Reddick, you know, he had a bad cycle there on the restart, fell back 5 or 6 spots, and now he's just settled in 8th and hasn't made much ground.
Joey Logano's getting a little impatient with Bubba Wallace here. This is for 4th place.
Well, he's running out of laps, Mike. He knows that he's got to make something happen if he wants to put himself in contention in case this caution comes out. He's got that higher entry. He's got the front bumper working to the back bumper of Bubba Wallace's car, but he's got that Denny Hamlin line there on the entry.
He's definitely wanting around. A lot faster right now. Cannot find a way around that car. You can see him trying to outside, swoop back in, get underneath of him. You're going to have to move him, Kevin.
Yeah, quickly.
See the muscle there as Logano gets into turn number 3. It looks like he is going to take over the 4th spot. Chase Elliott has just lapped Kyle Larson.
He's going to park it in front of Blaney.
Hendrick Motorsports teammate.
Larson, now he got out of the way.
It's a tiny bit of log jam there.
Yeah.
And it results in a 2-length deficit for Blaney.
It's a good
Wasn't
time.
it clear?
Good timing pass there.
Yeah.
See how Hosapar. I don't think it'll be as easy to get around that car.
I still like how Blaney's car wraps that curve. It looks better, but you know, I think
it's hurting his drive.
Yeah, with the exit of the corner, it's that 9 can just get a straight exit and good drive up off the corner. They definitely have made Chase's car last a little bit longer than it did the first run.
Yeah, it's kind of two tails, right? Blaney rolls the center in into the center a lot faster and is able to capitalize on the exit on the throttle, which is prevailing.
Go 200.
At some point, Chase is going to get to a car that's not a Chevrolet. It seems like every car he's lapped so far has been a Chevy.
Yeah, good point. That would be Todd Gilliland is 2 cars ahead, and then Josh Berry ahead of him. Kyle Busch next in front of the leader in the number 8.
And Kyle Busch has just had
He's had his racing in general. 2 Dillon boys did not make the feature. And Kyle's had difficulty. Okay. Chase moves by. And Busch moves in front of him.
Oh!
Had to, that's close.
I tell you what, man, this lap traffic is not helping the 12 out at all. They've all been Chevys, too.
Down in turn number 1. Not sure if he had help or not, but he
he missed it.
It's 3 to 4 car lengths between the 2 leaders.
He missed it. I don't think Busch touched him.
That opened up a huge gap for Chase Elliott.
Oh, he just got loose.
Yep.
Elliott inside of Todd Gilliland.
Running out of time.
8 to go.
So impressed with the job Chase Elliott's doing getting around these lap cars. He picks them up one by one, times them perfect, catches them in the right spot, does not slow him down.
Well, and everything that they've done this weekend has been top of the chart. Winning heat race, winning the pole, leading a bunch of laps tonight.
Taking care of business.
Taking care of business so far.
And that skirmish with Kyle Busch, that has put paid to Ryan Blaney's chances to win this thing from the tail of the field. 6 to go. 4 car lengths, 5 car
Front of Chase.
Of nose to tail now. They're not just onesie-twosies, they're bumper to bumper.
This is where it's going to get tough for Chase Elliott. He's got a lot of lap traffic in front of him, a line of 4, 5 plus cars. About a 4 to 5 car length gap, though, that is trying to be closed by Ryan Blaney. Chase quickly putting the bumper to the 21. of Josh Berry. Not going to waste any time there. Berry's going to stay well out of the way of a fellow Ford, Ryan Blaney. You can definitely tell Blaney sliding the rear tires, getting off the corner compared to the 9. That's where he's losing him. Bell getting a bump from behind now by Chase Elliott as well. Blaney may be closing a little bit, but you can definitely tell he is struggling with the rear grip on these older tires. He's used this stuff up to this point in the run. Lap traffic was definitely not working well for him earlier. Charges the corner super hard at entry that time. Loses more ground. And now the 99 is going to get up and out of the way of the leader, Chase Elliott. And I don't think Chase is going to catch another lap car the rest of the way. Suarez actually already 1 lap down. He's still going to stay in front of Ryan Blaney. He's not moving out of the way. Chevys are just not giving Blaney a whole lot of room here. And the rear grip on top of it not working well for the 12 late. Chase Elliott, better handling car. Lap traffic worked out better for him. Everything good for Elliott today. From the pole to victory lane, Chase Elliott wins the Busch Clash, the Cookout Clash at Bowman Gray Stadium. I messed that up all night. I apologize for Cookout for sponsoring the race, and yet I butchered the sponsor name. It was a Busch Clash for so many years, and change in 1 year. I didn't know about the name change until like a week ago, to be completely honest. No excuse, but congratulations to Chase Elliott and Hendrick Motorsports getting the first win of 2025. Exhibition race, albeit, but valiant effort by Ryan Blaney as well to come from last to second on a track where I thought it was going to be impossible to win this race from outside the front row. Well, go figure, the pole sitter did win, but to go from last to second, I didn't think anybody was going to have a chance out of that LCQ. Even Kyle Larson, who looked quick at the time, definitely had a beaten and battered car by the time he got into the main event and found himself in trouble on multiple occasions. We did have some cautions, obviously, throughout the race. At times, it seemed like cautions would breed cautions, but this race is going to finish 80 laps under green, longest green flag run of the day. Obviously, well longer than the, green flag runs in the LCQ, though that was only 75 laps. 200 lap main event. 51 minutes and 3 seconds as far as the green flag action. That didn't count the caution laps because they were red flag laps, because the caution laps did not count towards the actual race. 58.43 mile per hour average race speed today, and we only had 11 cars finish on the lead lap out of the 23. 22 of the 23 finished, with Chase Briscoe being the only DNF. And as far as the margin of victory, it was 1.3 seconds for Chase Elliott over Ryan Blaney. Elliott leads the most laps, wins the race from the pole, led twice for 172 laps led, 28 for Hamlin, and 1 for Reddick on a restart. Total cautions on this one, we had 3 of them in the first half, 4 in the second half, total of 7 cautions through the 200 laps in this race. We'll get to hear from race winner Chase Elliott on the front stretch. And then we'll go through the finishing results of this race once we get through a couple of interviews here shortly on the Fox broadcast.
3-yard line. And the Winston-Salem State football field.
Well, the crowd's loving it. A lot of Chase Elliott fans here at Bowman Gray, as we'd see more often than not on a typical NASCAR race weekend.
That had the fastest lap of the race.
Yep, fastest lap too. 14.161. Lap 8, average lap speed of 63.555.
Look at him. Alan Gustafson going to add his well wishes to our winner.
Now, Tony.
Well, Chase Elliott, he was all smiles before you got in this race car. I think you were feeling the vibe here, but that race for you, you start on pole. Denny Hamlin didn't make it easy for you. Ryan Blaney didn't make it easy for you. How did you navigate that so well, especially with all that lap traffic?
Yeah, first off, just thanks everybody for coming out. Y'all made for a really fun environment for us, and we don't race in stadiums like this, so just really cool, and I appreciate y'all making that moment special for me and my team. This is awesome. We're I know it's not a points race, but it is nice to win for sure, and just really proud of our sport for sure. Had a tough race. Ryan kept me honest there at the end. Denny was really good there at the second half of that break, and I just felt like he was kind of riding, and I was afraid to lose control of the race and not be able to get it back. So, fortunately it worked out. A great way to start the season. Huge thanks to everybody, Hendrick Motorsports. A lot of hard work over the off season. Napa Auto Parts, Chevrolet. We have some great partners, and excited to get to Daytona. It's a great way to start the season.
You mentioned the fans; they're so passionate. I know they were yelling for you guys the whole race. What do you have to say to them, Bowman, Gray, and the Madhouse, finally getting to witness you guys race here?
Well, y'all deserved it. I hope it was a good show for you. This environment is special, and this is a place that has had deep history in NASCAR, and I think they deserve this event. Truthfully, and I hope we didn't disappoint. It was fun for me at least, and we'll hopefully come back here one day.
That's Chase Elliott. He wins the Clash at Bowman Gray.
Ryan Blaney, the runner-up. Denny Hamlin, third. Tyler Reddick also led laps. Big night for Hendrick Motorsports. We'll be back to Bowman Gray to wrap things up after this.
Yeah, they're definitely not going to widen the track in the chat. It's been this way for over 50 years. It'll continue to stay that way, not just because NASCAR came to town. We'll go through the full field finishing order here before we go off the air for tonight. Chase Elliott with the race win. Again, a 1.3 second margin of victory. Leads the most laps, wins the race. Ryan Blaney finishes in second after starting dead last in 23rd. Driver of the night for sure. Chase Elliott, obviously, though, the deserving winner. Denny Hamlin ends up finishing in third. Joey Logano with a fourth place run. Bubba Wallace rounds out the top five in fifth. And oddly enough, with how good Chase Elliott was throughout the course of this race, he was the only Chevy inside the top 10 for a vast majority of this race. So Ross Chastain does climb up late in the running order to get a sixth place finish. Austin Cindric behind him in seventh. Tyler Reddick eighth. Shane Van Gisbergen ran back half of the top 10 all night. And honestly, he was the second best Chevy through most of this clash, outside of course, his teammate Chastain getting a slightly better finish there down that last 80-lap green flag run to the checker. Chris Buescher finishing in 10th, rounds out the top 10 after starting in second. Ryan Preece finishes 11th, last car in the lead lap. Christopher Bell 12th, first car one lap down. Josh Berry ends up with a 13th place finish. Todd Gilliland at 14th. 15th for Kyle Busch. 16th, Carson Hocevar. Kyle Larson, in 17th. William Byron, 18th. Alex Bowman, 19th. Noah Gragson in 20th. 21st for Brad Keselowski. 2 laps down for Daniel Suarez in 22nd. And then again, the only driver to DNF today, Chase Briscoe, who had a steering issue and retired from the race after 120 laps. That was actually during the last caution. Then we went green the rest of the way to the finish. Again, 7 cautions total in this one. And that will wrap up the 2025 edition of the Cookout Clash at Bowman Gray Stadium. We'll be live for Speed Weeks at Daytona beginning on Wednesday, February 11th for the Daytona 500 pole qualifying. Dual races that following night on the Thursday, truck race on Friday, and we'll be live obviously for ARCA and Xfinity Series racing Saturday, doubleheader, and the Cup race, the Daytona 500, February 16th, Sunday afternoon or Monday. Whenever we run the race this year, it seems like it changes annually because of the rain. Hopefully we have clear weather this year in Daytona Beach, Florida within the next week and a half. I will see you guys for that. I'll see you guys for some NASCAR 08 streams in the meantime. And be sure to hit the like button if you haven't on the stream yet. We are going to wrap things up here in a couple seconds, and we are currently at 59 likes. Hit the subscribe button as well as if you have not done so. And I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching, everybody. For those of you I don't see until the next live commentary stream, again, Wednesday night, February 11th, Daytona 500 qualifying. Hope to see you and many others for not only Speed Weeks, but the rest of the NASCAR season. It's going to be a fun one. Good start to the year. And see you tomorrow night. Thanks for watching, everybody.